Good morning from a cold, wet and windy Aishness. Hopefully you can hear this. It's a bit windier than I thought it was going to be today, just because it is. Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. I'll give you an idea of how windy it is just now. It's quite funny actually. I'll take that off. So that's water getting blown back. So if it thought it was going to make its way to the sea, the sea had different plans for it today. So Aishness is beautiful, absolutely beautiful place, and it's the 31st today, so I figured I would end the year as I meant to start it, and take you for a quick spin. We were out diving yesterday with Pete. Apologies for the squeaky brakes. Oh, I'm going to come away from the shoreline because I'm getting soaked. Yeah, so just basically kicking the backside out of it today. Aishness is looking pretty epic. I'm hoping to waz the drones about later on, but just look at that. How cool is that sea? It's pretty epic actually. But I'm going to keep moving because I'm freezing. Yeah, so just came away from that shoreline only because it was starting to beat me up a bit. Very, very cold. Exposure is something you just need to manage. It's perfectly doable. You just need to make sure you got the right gear and you approach it with a bit of sense as well. Try not to stand in the wind for any length of time because it literally will suck the soul from you. But you can put up with being exposed to it for a little while, obviously. It's about 1 degree just now, snow on the hills. Ground's still wet, funnily enough. This is always beautiful. Hopefully the camera's getting it. This is cold as Gyo. And it's quite impressive. You need to watch actually, there's like false edges on this, so if you want to get a better view sometimes of the Gyo itself, you want to just check that what you're standing on is the actual edge and not a kind of overhang, or you'll be in for a bit of a rude awakening. It's really impressive. Big caves on the Gyo, cold as Gyo as well, been in them a few times. A couple of times actually. We're out with Craig and Mandy and Kaylee earlier on in the year on the jet skis, which is awesome. Right. Yeah, so I've done this loads of times before. I'll spin this round, so squeaky trousers. So I've done this cycle loads of times before, but I figured I'd do it again today, basically, because it's epic. Hold on a minute. And just, yeah, maybe tell a bit of a story. Been up here a couple of times when killer whales have been coming by. That's always really cool. It's very difficult to film killer whales here, just purely because the cliff sides are quite steep, and if they're up tight against the cliff, if I spin this camera around just now, you'll see what I mean. If they're up tight against these cliffs, all you really see is the horizon. And the other thing is maintaining line of sight with your drone is very, very difficult here. Just because of the nature of the shoreline. If I pan the camera, this is bike skills 101. The nature of the shoreline, you can see with all the little gules and bites and stuff like that. Even just here, you know, if they come in here and have a nosy about, which they've not done to my knowledge, but if they came in here, you know, they come in, they look, they go back around, you've got this big block of rock between you and the killer whale. So kind of epic landscape, but really difficult to make it work to film wildlife and animals and stuff. So it's one of the perils, first world problems, eh? That sea's looking really cool. I'd like the wind to slow up a little bit. The wind's blowing in from offshore in, and hopefully the camera can pick that up. You're getting the sea foam getting blown up over the hill. Yeah, so the problem I've got with that is obviously the drone is getting blown into the stone the whole time, which is the opposite direction of where I want the drone to get blown into. But still looks awesome, and we'll see what we can do later on. But anyway, I'll carry on the cycle. Sun rising. Right, so we sacked that idea just purely because it was cold. It's doable, don't get me wrong, you could do it, but I'm here to enjoy myself, and it was just a bit too cold and uncomfortable. I like to mountain bike with thin gloves. I like to be able to feel the bars and all that kind of stuff, and I was just finding that my fingers were getting really, really cold, and yeah, there's no point doing something just to prove a point. I'm getting too old for that crap. So now, that's one of the beautiful things about Shetland. That's what I was getting with. Northeasterly wind. Now we're on a southwesterly facing shore. So the wind is now behind us, and the light is just beautiful here. And I'm going to take you for a bit of a walk along this shoreline here. I've done this a few times before. It's beautiful. It's really pretty. Lots of sea stacks and texture to the shoreline here. Beautiful colours as well. And sun is just peeking up over that crest there. So, still got mountain biking gear on. These Shimano boots are really good. See if I can do this. They've got cleats in them, but they're also hiking boots. So it's perfectly doable to go for a bit of a hike in them. They're compromised, obviously, but they do the job. And I've got my dirt suit on, which, thanks to Peter Tinkler, really does make a lot of sense this time of year, even if you look like a Ghostbuster. So yeah, we're geared up, got our gloves, and let's go see what we can find. That sun is looking absolutely beautiful. Had really cool experiences here, actually. In this bay, I've swam with basking sharks. Filmed humpback whales. We've had killer whales come through here as well along this shore. Hopefully I can find all of those clips. Beautiful, beautiful bit of shoreline, and like loads of life. Resource dolphins off the Dorholm, which is that island over there. Kayaked on the Dorholm loads of times. Not kayaked on the Dorholm, but you know what I mean. Kayaked to the Dorholm and then climbed on it, and all that kind of cool stuff. Dorholm's amazing, big arch, very, very pretty, and full of cool features. Pete and I have free dived in this bay a couple of times before. I've got a little rib thing, carried it down, put it in the beach. There's a video on that somewhere in this thing. Yeah, so like, spent a lot of time on this shore. It speaks a language I understand, and it's beautiful. And there's so many layers to it as well, so you never get bored actually coming. Every time you come, you feel like you've only just scratched the surface of it. You literally feel like you've only scratched the surface. You check that out for a minute. Time is just about 10 o'clock right now. Sun is pretty much just rising. Sunrise officially is just after 9 o'clock this time of year. This is the 31st of December, Hogmanay. And the sun will set round about 3 today, but to be honest, it feels like it sets long before 3 o'clock. Never really gets very high, so the shadows are cast very, very quickly. The last time I was on this shore as well, no, it wasn't the last time, but one of the times, there was an otter pulling out codlings, which is very cool to see. Really good fishing here. Fished with my son loads of times. And it's a good laugh. From where I live in Aith, by boat it's about 25 minutes, at around about 20 odd knots. And in my little boat I can get to here and back to Aith on a tank of fuel, which is about 25 litres. So it's relatively accessible, and the fishing's great. We'll see cod, ling, whiting, got 1 or 2 whiting before, and haddock, which is kind of the holy grail of fish up here anyway. It's our fish of choice. People in Shetland aren't that keen on cod. I like cod, but I much prefer haddock. Just tastes nicer, really, and quite a pretty fish as well. But cod gives you those big, massive white fillets. I think most people in England eat cod in their fish and chips. Most people in Scotland eat haddock. So there you go. There's some general facts. Try and use the styles where possible when you're doing this kind of thing. Just keeps everybody sweet. I know I didn't use a style back then, but I didn't actually have to touch the fence to step over it, so in my head that's fair game, but use the styles if they're there. Still cold, guys. It's car's saying it's about 1 degrees, although the grass is still holding up. It's once you factor in that wind chill though, and it's a northerly wind, so it's a bit of an Arctic blast, it really does bring the temperature down. It feels like minus a million, but it probably realistically brings it down to about -4, -5, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're spending quite a bit of time mountain biking into it at speed and you can't really get respite from it, you do need to watch that in new sense. I've been really lucky to have lots of adventures, and I wouldn't say I'm particularly trained in anything, nor would I say I'm an expert at anything either, but been on the lifeboat now for 12 odd years, and years of just being an idiot really. You learn a couple of things, and yeah, managing your heat, for me managing heat's important. My hands go very, very quickly. I don't know if it's just years of bikes and vibration or whatever, but I lose sensation in my hands very quickly. They just go numb, and it's a pain. So I try and get savvy about that. Look at this. It's beautiful. Sun's just behind those clouds, light's very low, and I think we're going to get the drone out in a second and play around here. Absolutely beautiful. Love the landscape here. Always have. We've dived all along here. It's really nice. It's like a pebbly bottom. I'll cut to a few shots of that. Very, very pretty. A few brown crabs. Not as many fish as we thought we'd see, but you get days like that where it's just a bit of a duff day, really. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? The child in me looks at arches like this and thinks, I wonder if we can fly through that. There's a seal down there. You'll probably not pick that out in the GoPro. They're great for lots of things, but yeah, picking out little things from far away is not one of their strengths, I would say. Beautiful. Beautiful. That all looks quite doable to me. Let's get the drone out and see what we can do.
So that's me finished playing with the FPV drone, and I've actually cut out a big chunk because I was just waffling nonsense. So now I'm carrying on walking up the hill, and I pulled out the Mavic 3 Cine, and I'm just mucking about with the active track function on it, so you get an idea of what that's like.
It is climbing. Let's see if it follows. See, this is the Mavic 3 Cine. Probably shouldn't be doing stuff like this with it, because it's quite pricey. It's making me nervous. It seems to be working. I'm much happier with it being over the other side. So we're going to walk to the top of this brow and have a peek over the other side. It's quite dramatic. Wind's on our back. It's cold. It's not too bad. Bits of snow from the other night. What is this thing doing? Come on. I think we'll raise it up a bit. Yeah. There's a chance of losing £4,300 worth of drone. What do you think about this format? A lot more talking, probably a lot of guff. Normally I'm doing an actual thing like cycling or mountain biking, so there's only so much talking you can do without courting death sometimes. Yeah, watch the few vloggy things. Oh, where's it going? What is it doing? Doing something odd there. Yeah, watched a couple of vloggy things, and actually sometimes it's just interesting hearing somebody's thoughts, I think anyway, when they're doing something. So I thought I'd have a pop at it and pepper it with some cool scenes. This is quite neat. The chunks of ice. It's doing some weird stuff. I'll maybe jack that in a minute. How's this for a reveal? Boom. It's quite epic, really. Another beautiful bay. Swam in here too. Drongs in the background, fished all around here. Just beautiful. I'm gonna bring this drone in, seeing as how I've run out of Brave pills. I think we'll let it have some rest. Stand by. That's it, I think. We've we'll just take you over here. Yeah, we've exhausted our my tolerance for the cold. Not the longest walk in the world, but it's beautiful all the time, and it's cold, and it's a bonus walk because it wasn't really on the cards. The wind's still up, and I can see there's some weather coming in. It's blowing in this direction as well, so I think I will head back to the car. Might have another look at that hole in the rock because it's annoying me. After all that chat about not pushing yourself too hard, it will bug me. I may or may not do it. We'll find out. But yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Let me know if it'd be better if I just kept my mouth shut. I'll take it on the chin. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful landscape. It never really gets boring. And it changes all year round as well. You know, like I said, it's winter just now, pretty cold. But it starts to get busier and busier. We'll start to see more blooms of plankton. That'll bring in the pelagic fish like the mackerel and all that kind of stuff. And really, the ocean just sort of switches on. And then we get the dolphins coming in. Early sort of springtime is when we tend to see humpbacks coming back from Norway, coming back from the Arctic waters, going back down to more equatorial waters like the Caribbean and all that kind of stuff. But they do often swing by here. So Easter's a really cool time. March, odds. There's no absolutes here. It's all just ballpark. But spring can bring humpbacks in. We can see killer whales any time of the year. They've been in Orkney lately. Orkney's hogging them, bit annoying. Send them up this way. But they can disappear off the face of the earth for weeks at a time. No one knows where they are. So that's not unusual. But I had loads of killer whales in here. The basking sharks are always cool. We had a bumper year for basking sharks this year. No basking sharks in this area. There must have been. There would have been. But just thing with basking sharks is you only really see them on days where it's flat calm and the dorsal fins are breaking the water. Obviously they don't need to breathe like cetaceans do, so they can stay underwater all day long. They could be loads in a bay like this, and you wouldn't know unless their fins are breaking the water. the surface, obviously. So, and even if their fins do break the surface, you do need a relatively calm day so that you can kind of discern the fin from the background chop of the waves and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, basking sharks are really cool. I don't know if we're seeing more of them or not. I'm probably not qualified to give an opinion on that, but it feels like that. Maybe we've just had some good years. Something's brought them up. Who knows? But this year there were loads of them. Yeah, it's been quiet in the humpback whale front. Oh, I'm trying to navigate this now. I'm going to be careful because as much as it's soft and wet still, there's ice down there. And once you slide, trying to arrest one slide before you go off that cliff edge could be challenging. So yeah, it's just starting to ice up in places here, so it's the kind of thing you look out for. I've not died yet, so I'm sure it's safe. That hole is just taunting me. More ice. Thankfully it's flowing. And I'm going to go this way. Got two options. Go up high, stay dry, or go down low. You're closer to the edge. It's riskier, but I don't think you'd have a problem down there. It looks pretty thawed. But if you stay up high on the grass, you're guaranteed no problems. I'm going to sound like a weenie here. It's very tempting. The problem I've got is the wind is straight in my face, and we've got some rain coming in too, possibly snow, or perhaps worse, it could be hail, which sucks. It stings. The last trip we were out in the boat, we got pelted by hail. I hate hail. There's nothing cool about it. But yeah, it's very tempting to try and do like a dive down here and go through it. I think I just saw the first hail puckle. Yeah, I'm really tempted to do a dive and try and line up for that hole. But everything about this right now is saying not today. So I think I'm going to wrap up there and park it. I will come back for that hole. I'll maybe bring a wetsuit in case I don't get through it properly. At least I can get the memory card. GoPro should be fine. I'm using the GoPro Mini 11. I'm very, very spoiled. I'm using two GoPros. But yeah, the little Mini is quite neat. I should maybe talk about it in another video. I got it because it's smaller than the standard GoPros, which means it weighs a bit less. And on the FPV drones, weight is everything, really. It's not so much that you want it to go faster or anything like that, but the lower the weight, the more responsive it is. So the more confidence I've got flying in proximity to things, because I can react, and I've got just that little bit more power, a little bit more response. The drone just flies better, basically. So I got the Hero Mini, but to be fair, it's not that much lighter than the standard GoPro. You lose the screens and all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, I like it. It's a bit finicky. You've got to use your phone to change all the settings and so on, which you obviously miss when you've got the screens on your GoPro and stuff. But I'll cut to the chase. The good thing with the GoPro Mini is because the battery doors and everything are all sealed, if it does end up in the water, as long as it's not too deep, I've got a good chance of being able to recover it. whereas I've lost a couple of GoPros in the past because I tend to take the batteries out of them and run an external power supply from the drone's battery into the drone. The problem with that is the door's open on it, so when it hits the water, obviously the GoPro's internals are flooded and it's wrecked. And I can't quite remember how many I've ruined, but I'm going up in all the numbers. Yeah, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10 GoPro Hero 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 10. I've destroyed all of those. So yeah, the minis may be a good idea because it's sealed. There's a chance I might be able to recover it, or I could just make that weight concession, keep the batteries in and keep the door sealed. But yeah, I'm picky. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop there, guys. The weather's coming in. I'm just heading back to the car, dodging the ice. If you've made it this far, thanks very much for watching. Really grateful. I hope you've enjoyed it. My last of the year walk, and let me know what you think about me talking nonsense as well. I've watched a couple of other vlogs, and actually I personally find them quite entertaining, just listening to what somebody's thinking while they're doing something. It's really difficult to do that when I'm mountain biking or driving the boats, all that kind of stuff. You're sort of task saturated, but walking's actually pretty straightforward, to be honest. I've got a lot of time to think. I'm just going to navigate this. I'm just going to charge through it. The Shimano boots are pretty good at being waterproof. Try not to slide to my doom. Just watch out for the false edges and things like this, guys. You'll always see, in fact you can see it there. See how the edge actually overhangs? You can see it just popping over. Anyway, seriously, that's a top safety tip. Do not walk to the edge of things like this unless you can actually see that it is the true edge. And even at that, to be honest, avoid doing it. Rock is normally pretty safe. The other thing I look for in rocks is if there's a break somewhere, because it might be that this is a loose rock and you standing on it might be just the weight that it needs to tip it off. But something like this will be pretty good. And you know, at least when you're standing on rock, that is always going to be the true edge. It's snow coming in, so I think we called it right. Bit of a waterfall. Yeah, the wind feels like it's picked up a little bit actually, so bonus walk. End the year on a bit of a high. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit different. I'm going to go into the car, get the jet oil filed up and get a coffee. I think I've earned it. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully there's lots more stuff next year. Always keen to find out what folk are interested in. If you've got any questions about any of the stuff that I'm working with, give me a yeah, it's cool to know people are paying attention to stuff and what people are interested in. I love it. I love talking about it. I love doing it, and I'm keen to encourage lots of other people to get out and enjoy all of this. You're missing out if you're not doing it. So I'll see you next year, guys. Thank you again. Cheers.